Where am I? How did I get here? Oh, I remember now. Lake Atitlán has been called the most beautiful lake in the world. It's surrounded by steep mountain walls and framed by 3 ancient volcanoes. It has a reputation for being a mystical place and draws visitors from all over the world. Whether it's the most beautiful lake in the world or has mystical properties, we don't know. But what's for sure is Lake Atitlán is amazing. The lake bed is actually a caldera from the eruption of an ancient supervolcano and reaches depths of over 1,000 feet, making it the deepest lake in Central America. Evidence of the region's volcanic past is all around, from the ash cliffs to verdant farming along the slopes of the mountains. Of course, it's impossible to ignore the towering volcanoes. San Pedro, Toliman, and Atitlan look over the lake like sentinels. Atitlan is surrounded by towns and small cities, many of which are only accessible by boat. Some of these rise straight up the sides of the mountain, seeming to defy gravity. There's also a very strong indigenous Maya influence in the area. There are well over 20 different indigenous languages spoken in Guatemala. Several of these can still be heard around Lake Atitlán, where the cultural identity is very strong, despite Western influences. Locals wear traje típica, or typical clothes, and carry on life in much the same way as their ancestors, though every so often you'll see a smartphone tucked in their waistbands. The jumping off point for most places around the lake is a town called Panajachel, or Pana for short.
So we are staying in the town of Panajachel, which is on Lake Atitlán on the northern shore here in the Guatemalan highlands. It's about 5,200 feet above sea level. That's about 1,500 meters, give or take. But Panajachel, or Pana for short, has become kind of the center of the tourist scene here at Lake Atitlán.
The reason Pana is the center for the tourist scene is because it's one of the most accessible towns on the lake. The main highway runs through it. Pana is also built on an area of the lake that's relatively flat, due to the river valley that it's situated in. For these and other reasons, most people traveling to Lake Atitlán will pass through Pana at one point or another. Within Pana itself, there are several things to see and do, including visiting the historic church of St. Francis of Assisi with its original facade from the 16th century, visiting the nature reserve, or attending a Spanish school, and of course there's shopping. Within Pana, people get around mostly via tuk-tuks, small motor scooter carriages that zip around town like red ants.
Most of the roads in Pana are cobblestone. They're still left over from olden times. Very few of the streets are actually paved in asphalt.
You'd think the tuk-tuks would slow down with the bumpy roads, and yet they fly at insane speeds to get you there on time. A tuk-tuk should cost you 5 quetzales in town per person, and 10 for longer rides. And most drivers don't charge for kids. Pana has a fairly large harbor and a large fleet of public and private boats called lanchas. The lanchas will take you to any other town on the lake and run from sunup until sundown. Just be aware that the lake is smooth in the morning and choppy in the evening. And when I say choppy, I mean really choppy sometimes. This is almost always the case.
So the climate here in Panajachel is tropical. Lake Atitlan, where Panajachel is located, is in the Guatemalan highlands. And it generally doesn't get over 80 degrees here. It's usually between 65 and maybe 80 degrees at the high. It's almost always perfect. For that reason, they call it the land of the eternal spring.
So we're here in town this morning, just dropping our kids off at school. We actually enrolled our kids in school here. Pana, and also all around Lake Atitlán, is known for its schools, specifically its Spanish schools. People come here from all over the world, and especially from the United States, just to practice and learn Spanish and to have that language immersion. So it's pretty cool.
The schools around Lake Atitlán may not look like schools elsewhere, but they are excellent. We were very impressed with the schools in Pana, and our kids absolutely loved them.
You guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's go. How was school today?
So Pana is a town that's always busy. There's always something going on.
In fact, most of the towns around the lake have a hustle and bustle about them. There's a palpable energy in the air, and nowhere is this more prevalent than in each town's local market. In these markets, local merchants buy and sell all sorts of goods. You can find pretty much anything you could ever want in the market, from meat and fresh produce to clothes and shoes. In the market, there are no set prices, and haggling is common. If you're a foreigner, just be prepared to pay top dollar.
So Calle Santander here in Pana is like the main tourist street. There's lots of vendors all over, and this is where all the tourists come pretty much to buy things.
If you visit Lake Atitlán, go to Calle Santander in Panajachel, even if you don't intend on buying anything. It's such a fun place to walk and observe the people and take in all the smells, sights, and sounds.
So there really is so much to do and see here in Guatemala. It'd be impossible to put it all in one video. So we have several more videos coming that we're really excited to share with you. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you along on the adventure. If you've ever been to Guatemala, leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about it. All right, we'll see you on the next one.
Are we there yet?